You guys know what's absolutely insane is the fact that we're all like collectively scared to lose our jobs at the same time, like scared for the future and literally don't know if our jobs are stable or not. Like everyone I talk to, everyone on this app, me myself, I'm like, oh my god, I could get fired tomorrow. And it's not because of like not doing a good job at work. It's simply because the economy is so absolutely fucked right now that like even if you are doing a good job, a company could let you go like that. Like it was literally just at like a networking thing last week and this girl was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, I'm in between jobs. I was shocked because I work in PR and like the team that I was on literally could not lose me. Like I did everything for that team. If they lost me, they would be fucked. So she's like, I'm not gonna lose my job. What do you know? She loses her job. The team was still fucked, but they saved the money of her salary. So like I guess for the business as like a business decision, it was not an issue. And this just like scares the fuck out of me. And it's really interesting how this is like where we are right now. And we're at like a time where obviously the economy is not great and the job market is not great. But it's like after COVID and after the like great reshuffle and everyone like trying to find new jobs, like all of these layoffs and everything that's happening right now is like not performance based. Like we've moved past that. Now it's literally just like, okay, like we literally don't have the money for this person. Like bye, this is a business decision. But I just hate this and I don't have any solution. I just came here to rant and see if anyone feels the same way, that they're like literally constantly waking up in fear every single day for their jobs.
Let's talk about the job market. Everyone right now is terrified of losing their job. Now, you might hate your job, you might be underpaid, but you definitely don't want to lose it because it is going to be a steady source of income. And for a lot of people who are full-time employees, a lot of their benefits come from there. So you're going to be getting your medical insurance, your dental, your vision. Now, for 2026, all of those premiums are going to rise, but that doesn't excuse the fact that the job market is really bad. So a lot of people are staying at their jobs that they hate because they know the job market is going to be really tough. They're probably going to be unemployed for a while if they lose their jobs, which is why they're all sucking it up and staying at terrible jobs. But of course, we don't anticipate this to be permanent. We hope the job market and the whole economy turns around pretty soon, because right now a lot of people are suffering. It's very hard out there. Let's take a look at the rest of these clips.
I had such a fear of posting because I had so many people had told me that if I post, like, I won't be able to be a TV film writer and I wouldn't be allowed to be in this industry because this industry kind of thrives off of you staying silent. And when I was at my lowest point, I just started posting because I'd always posted like on my IG, like personal IG, and always on my stories kind of thing, like treating my feed as like just a resume, but then like speaking out, being political, just only in stories. So they just would disappear after 24 hours. But I realized like how much of a cage that put me in. Like how pathetic and small do I have to be to like not say something because I want the chance to like work on what is ultimately a product to just sell more product. Like that's what TV and film is. They're just long form commercials to sell more product. And it was such like a weight lifting off my shoulders to really start to just go back to who I am as a human being. Like I studied journalism and anthropology, human ecology, social systems, and like worked in nonprofit and worked as a teacher for 4 years. Like this is my life and this is who I feel like I most innately am. And so if you feel like still scared to like post or say something, like now is the time. Like you're going to have to live with the guilt of not saying something for the rest of your life. You're going to have to live with yourself and be like, I was on the side of people who, had created genocide, who like I am complicit. And my career has flourished because of this. Not flourished, but like my career is okay. Like I punched up a major movie on Tuesday. I had a staffing meeting for a big show yesterday. And like today I had another like consulting interview for a major movie. And like these are projects that they're saying something, because in the end, like, didn't we all get into TV and film because we wanted to say something? We wanted to stick up for people that looked like us or sound like us or loved like us. Like this is about a sea change. This is about the tide turning, that if enough people shape the shoreline, we can control where the ocean goes. Like you think you're just a grain of sand, but a grain of sand is what changes the formations of canyons.
The emotional toll of layoff season is no joke. At the time I'm recording this, we're going into what's called layoff season. If you don't understand it, most corporations will choose to do layoffs right before the end of the year. That's why you hear a lot of times about people getting laid off at the holidays, which is such a brutal time to be laid off. But it's because they're writing their P&L, their profit and loss statements, so that they're going into the new year with more cash on hand, with more money to spend. Layoff season creates massive anxiety, even if you haven't been laid off. I mean, forget about if you have been laid off right now trying to find a job. But if you're sitting there hanging on to a job, it's called job hugging. You're still feeling the effects because you have a job and your biggest fear is, what can I do to protect it? When you know layoffs are out of your control, they have nothing to do with you. So the one thing that I can say over the many years as a 20-year career coaching veteran is that the best way to deal with this kind of anxiety is to be proactive. Sitting and just thinking about things makes it worse. Taking micro action helps you regain a sense of control. Now, what do I mean by that? Learning something new that can help you open up your eyes to opportunities, help you see your situation in a different light, is the best way to reduce your anxiety. It's called paying down the wisdom tax. The more knowledge you gain, the more power you have, and the more calm you feel. If that made sense to you and you would like something to kind of digest, it's totally free. I did a YouTube training recently called Monetize Your Mind. And it's a training where I help you understand how to use your knowledge to make money. It's not Amazon drop shipping. It's not selling on TikTok shop. It's using your current mind in new and different ways in order to make money. And it's a really easy training to listen to. It's totally free, and it's going to help you start to feel empowered because, again, it's one way to fight off that layoff anxiety. So check it out. The link's in my bio or down here somewhere. I guarantee you thousands of people have listened to it already. I get so many messages every day from people saying, you just made me feel so much better. And that's what I aim to do with this training. I think it'll really help you. If you've got questions or comments, put them here. I'm always here to help you. Good luck. Go get them.
Just when I thought my life couldn't get any worse, it finds a way to. Almost exactly 1 year to the date of my last layoff, I get laid off again. Yes, from the job that is paying for my IVF. And I'm going to be completely honest, it wasn't a total layoff. It was, you have 5 weeks to put your house on the market and uproot your entire life and move to Phoenix, Arizona, or it is a layoff. 5 weeks, which poses as a problem because you guys know I'm in the middle of my IVF cycle. And they're paying for my IVF. So I just cannot believe this is happening. And you don't get to give me crap for tearing up because I get to cry over this, okay? I get to cry. The job that has handcuffs on me because they're paying for my IVF is telling me the only way I have a job is if I uproot my entire life and move to Phoenix, Arizona. In 5 weeks, and I'm building a home here. I'm going through IVF here. I'm building my life here. I have a home here. And this isn't even something that, I told them no. I'm not going to Phoenix, Arizona. I'm sorry. And they, wouldn't take no as an answer. They're sleep on it. I'm I can't go to Phoenix. And I was find me something in Texas, somewhere else in Texas. Find me something in Utah where I'm from. And they're we can't guarantee you relocation if you don't take this role. And I'm and it's not something I can sit on for a very long time because it's so much work to list your house, let alone pack up your entire life and move somewhere else by November. I have until the first week of November to move to a whole nother state, or I don't. And I take the severance package, which they didn't really give me information on what it was. I was send me a severance package. I'll sign that shit. Just kidding. And I lose my IVF coverage, and it's not the end of the world. I can afford to pay for the transfer out of pocket. The expensive part's done, the expensive part is really done. But nothing could have prepared me for that phone call today. And I mean nothing. I can't uproot my life in 5 weeks. I could if I really wanted to, but I really don't want to. I was so excited for this house, and to think in a blink of an eye, it's have to cancel that contract, have to list my current home for sale, hire movers, pack up everything, find a new place to live in Phoenix, find a new fertility clinic in Phoenix, pay to have my embryo shipped from Texas to no. Damn, God really wants to just switch up my whole life. I don't understand. I've lived 9 lives in my 20s. Like, what do you even do in this situation? What do you even do? Because it's... And the insurance, and like, this job has the best parental leave. Like, the best parental leave. I was so excited about that. But I can't just uproot my life. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. And I hate the heat, okay? I hate it so much. I know I live in Texas, but like, please, no. And give me a winter or some shit. Like, Phoenix, you're kidding.
I'm scared of not owning anything. I'm scared of not being in a position to leave anything behind for my loved ones. Just like properties and like buildings and land, like accounts, some kind of like investments. That's what I'm saying. Like, y'all scared to like get fired and y'all scared to happen to get another job, but I'm really scared being in a position where I leave the earth and not having nothing that I could pass down to my family to make sure that my family is straight. It goes to show all of us, like, it's not about just getting a job, clocking in a job, working our hours, going home and getting paid every 2 weeks. The bigger picture is having something where we can be in a position to really take care of ourselves and take care of our families. Things that like our loved ones will be able to fall back on. Things that we could fall back on. I mean, without depending on the government or without depending on anybody else to really take care of us. Like, I definitely got to bring my priorities back into place and stop thinking short term. Like, think of the bigger picture and think of more so long term.
We aren't at the point where keep your job because the job market sucks. We're at the companies looking for reasons to fire you because they're going to downsize very, very soon. A lot of these companies voted for Trump and they knew they fucked up, but they're still fucking racist because a lot of black and brown people are losing their fucking jobs. I already done heard how they fucking feel about black and brown people. And all of a sudden, all these people are disappearing because they don't know how to do their fucking job. And I'm thinking, yeah, sure, whatever. Because I just came from a job that right after Trump got elected, for some reason, my progress report needed to improve. Because prior to the 7 fucking months that I've been working there, they never had any issues on how I did my job until I did the big project that they know most people didn't want to fucking do, but I wanted to be a team player and I'm like, you know what, let me do it. I did it. Then I come back and all of a sudden I'm having all these issues. And it's minuscule things that most people will look over because it doesn't affect the customer, it doesn't affect the company, none of that. And here's the kicker, most people are still fucking doing. All right, so now I'm figuring that shit out. I'm like, all right, cool. I know what's coming. And then they're right there on your fucking tail. Always watching for every single little fuck up. And then you fuck up because we're humans, right? And next thing you know, they got all this shit stacked against you. This is happening to me, by the way. They're telling me this in the office and they're like, oh, we just don't think you're fit for the job. I'm like, whatever. And I fucking dip. I start a new job. I'm kicking ass. I'm doing all these big ass projects. I did 4 projects. Now I'm going to, and not one complaint. They're like, you're doing fucking great. And then they send me to the project that has been rumored for a lot of people to get fired at because the guy is so on your fucking ass waiting for you to fuck up. And all of a sudden, I don't know how to do my job. Are you new at this? Who else is going through this shit? Because I know this isn't happening to just me.
Psychology fun facts. Do you fear losing your job? In psychology circles, this is what we call anticipatory anxiety. You haven't lost your job yet, but you are obviously nervous about it. You're nervous about the future that hasn't happened yet. So 2 things you could do. Acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. What you need to acknowledge is that you accept that you might be in a difficult circumstance. Let's say work has become too much. You're dealing with difficult bosses and coworkers. You need to accept that work and the environment's very difficult now, because fearing what hasn't happened yet isn't going to make things any easier. And the other thing you could do is not so psychological in nature. Well, kind of it is. But diet and sleep, I can't stress that enough. Are you eating well? Are you eating enough? Are you sleeping well? Are you sleeping enough? If you are doing a lot of these things, you'll recover from anticipatory anxiety. You will feel as if you're not thinking as much about the future and not about losing your job.
Is anyone else just like waiting to get fired? Like every day I wake up and I'm like, yep, today's the day. it's gonna happen today. Like, I spend 70% of my energy worrying about getting fired. And I'm good at my job, I think. But, like, having a 9 to 5 right out of college, I have, like, no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I just always feel like I'm doing it wrong and about to get fired. It feels like I'm, like, in a toxic relationship and I'm just, like, waiting for my boyfriend to break up with me. Like, every time my boyfriend texts me, I'm, like, worried it's gonna be the, like, can we talk text. That's how I feel with my boss. I'm, like, every time she's like, hey, can we chat? I'm like, this is it. Yeah, this is it. I'm done. I'm so anxious about it that it's not even a question of if. It's a question of when. Like, when am I going to get fired? Like, just when is it gonna happen? Sometimes I wish it would just happen so that I could stop worrying about it. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, I spend all day, every day thinking about it. What if I got fired? What if I got fired today? What would I do tomorrow if I got fired today? If I do this, will they fire me? If I make a mistake, will they fire me? If I do that, will they fire me? Like, it's all I think about.
American workers hear the argument all the time that if we had more benefits, if we had more time off, etc., that companies would just leave and go overseas and we would lose all the labor. And that's a fair concern after globalization and losing a lot of manufacturing jobs, but the irony is those companies are already overseas. In one of my lives in my school community where I do a weekly live call, somebody was on the call from Germany, and he was talking about all these other labor rights they have and how he doesn't have a lot of the issues that pop up that we were discussing in the live about the unwritten rules of work. And we were talking about documenting workplace abuse and such. And he was like, yeah, we just have so many more rights there that when a lot of Americans come over, they're upset to find that the same companies they work for do operate in Germany and provide more benefits than they do to their American workers. And I was like, oh yeah, 100%. I've been that American. A couple of years ago, I was in Portugal and I met several Germans, and one of them worked at a firm that I had worked at and had completely different benefits than I did. Way more time off. Sick leave wasn't even a thing because you just don't go if you're sick, etc. And now I'm sure I made a higher salary. Granted, I also have a much higher cost of living and additional health insurance costs. So it was interesting because that side of the conversation gets left out. I'm like, oh no, they'll go overseas if we demand benefits. And it's like, if it wasn't profitable for these countries to be in Europe, they wouldn't be. There's profit and then there's exploitation. And also, in exploitation, you end up paying for costs over time of things like absenteeism because people can't work because they're sick, right? And having to replace someone when they burn out and leave, or if God forbid something terrible happens to their health, etc. So, yeah. And as I talk about all the time, when people hate you, they also do counterproductive work behaviors and productivity decreases. So there are still costs to being an asshole, as I always say.
Wow, my video about layoffs and how we all feel like we're gonna lose our jobs at any second sort of blew up, and I wanted to surface a few patterns and themes from the comment section that I completely agree with and that are super interesting to dig into more. The first one is that so many people were talking about, like, yes, this is why I'm investing in social media or like blogging or like my own personal business, so they have their own piece of income that's not dependent on like a 9-to-5 job where they're working for a different employer. I have seen so many articles recently about this and how like Gen Z is all about like social media and like creating their own side hustle, and not because like they want to be entrepreneurs, but because they're forced to be entrepreneurs because of the state of the job market and the economy and everything. They can't get jobs, and even if you do have a job, it's pretty risky if you might lose it. And the only way to stay safe from that is by creating your own money as an entrepreneur, having some type of side hustle. The other one is like this comment here that we're all sort of living in fear and we should try and change that attitude to sort of get ahead of it. I guess that's a hard thing to do as like a collective society, but I guess like let's all try to do it together. But also, like, if you're constantly living in fear and like saving that money, and this completely depends on like where you are financially, but if we're constantly living in fear, like, you can't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Don't let your employer or your job force that upon you. If you have the liberty to, still let yourself like live and be a human and spend money on like experiences or a coffee or something that makes you happy, to not completely live out of fear 24/7. I know that last piece is filled with a lot of nuances and it really depends on the person. That's how I feel. Like, I'm currently on a trip right now, which is why I'm responding to all of this a little bit late. But go live your life, don't live in fear, and we got this. Let's hope that the job market starts to get better.